2, 1. Hello, everybody. I am Venomous Pie. You guys know me full well as the Pinkie Pie of the group, and welcome to another episode of Bronimaniacs Discuss. I have with me today our Mod Pie, which is Little Looney.
Hello.
Okay,
Insert witty introduction here.
we have our Trixie of the group, which is David.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna go now. I'll see you guys later.
We haven't even got started yet.
Go over here!
We have our Fluttershy, which is Violet Bloom.
Sphinx is canon.
Indeed.
We have our Twilight, which is Sharkwit.
I am shaken because of this episode, but not by the episode, but rather by some certain cat.
Oh
Meh.
boy.
Okay, do I wanna know?
We have
No, to explain the thing, Grey Silvermane was so hyped because of this episode that he shocked me quite a lot in his fangasm.
Okay then!
we have our
Moving on!
we
Okay.
have our Starlight Glimmer, which is Neon Blade.
What's up, everyone? And I don't know, how does some mechanics work in this world?
I have no freaking idea. We have our
I'm
we have our
just trying to figure it out.
we have our Derpy Hoots, which is Endless Nonsense.
Giant cat pony! Yes!
We have our Sunset Shimmer, which is Crimson Starbright.
I'm just gonna say this. That is a huge cat pony. And God, Mother Celestia, help us all!
You're gonna need a lot of catnip to tame that cat pony.
Yeah, My Little Pony ain't so little anymore.
And introducing the first time in the podcast since he became a special guest a while back. Please welcome our Featherbang to the group, which is Voltwist.
Yo, I'm surprised I haven't seen any R34 of this cat yet.
You have no idea.
And in case you haven't figured it
That's
out,
already a girl.
And in case you haven't figured it out, the episode we'll be talking about here today is Getting Done. An episode
We
that-
promise we won't try to walk like an Egyptian.
Anyways, you know the full deal. We go in a random order for what we do like about the episode, then we will go in reverse on what we don't like, one thing each, and after that we'll be giving our final ratings. So, up first shall be... I guess I'll go first this time around. Alright. So, what do I like about Getting Done? Well, I suppose I should start us off with probably everyone's biggest positive about this episode is the legend itself that was presented in this episode. I actually really like the full story about the legend that was passed down to the village. It was interesting. It actually got me on the edge of my seat when she encountered the Sphinx, which by the way has a really cool design. And I really like the animation style. It kind of reminds me of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. And I guess I really like the animation style that they chose there. So yeah, the legend itself that's presented in this episode is definitely the highlight of the episode for me. I really enjoyed the legend here. And Sonambula, if that's how you pronounce it, your story was awesome. And also,
I think you pronounce this as somnambula. No, wait, it's somnambula. But more like that.
Somnambula.
Yeah,
Somnambula.
Blah blah blah.
alright.
Blah, blah, blah.
It sounded for a second you would have said cement.
The blue blue blue.
Forgive me, I'm not very good with pronouncing names. So, anyways.
I was talking about shop.
Anyways, I do like the legend presented in this episode. It was definitely the highlight. And by the way, another tie-in for the comics. That's a plus. So,
By the way, since we are here, Mist Main or Somnambula?
Miss May.
Somnambula.
If we're talking about who's hotter, Sanabula.
No,
Oh, for
I'm talking
crying out loud.
which legends you prefer?
Miss Main.
Somnambula all the way.
I have to say Miss Main.
Also about to get your head out of your gutter.
I don't look. You will never get me to do that, so you might as well just give up trying. You can threaten to cut my wings off. I don't give up. Shouldn't say
He's
that.
a bat pony. He hangs out in the gutter.
Oh god.
Anyways, back on topic here. How about I pick Southwest?
Okay. So, what about of this episode? Pinkie Pie. Definitely Pinkie Pie. I'm calling this now, in this episode, she's the best pony. She has,
yeah.
many times we can tell how much Pinkie Pie doesn't know the concept of personal space. But this time, she perfectly knows the distance. She knows how to talk with them. How that she respect that Daring Do didn't want to talk about her problems. Yet she kind of also pushed her in a way to talk about it, but in a subtle way. And she also know how to encourage her in a right. Generally speaking, over Pinkie Pie as a whole
Yeah.
is enough to say in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
I will
point,
agree.
actually.
I do think that Pinkie Pie was the only character in this episode that was actually written well.
Yep,
Yeah, I
definitely.
agree. You know?
Hashtag fancy pinky.
More on that
Okay.
later.
That caught me off
Yeah.
guard.
Anything else, Chocolate?
No, so I think I'm gonna, since my positive was Pinkie, I'm gonna pass to our Pinkie, Violet.
She's Fluttershy.
She's Fluttershy.
But she's pink.
Venom's Pinkie Pie.
I'm completely pink. I'm pink here, so come on.
She is pink.
Pink!
Jesus.
You're right.
Anyway,
Continue.
anyway, my positive has got to be the world building.
Hmm.
Hey, that's my point.
There we go, stealing each other's positives again.
It's
Okay, alright.
Anyway, my positive is about world building, true, but it's probably something that isn't really much with your positive, Neon.
okay.
I like the fact that they don't just add the new cultures, but the fact that how the ponies are designed is especially one certain mare. It's really nice and subtle for them to add her design in there.
Mm-hmm.
And which one I'm talking about is the mare that looks like has her head completely covered.
Oh yeah, I couldn't help but notice that.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, well, you can tell Pony has a cloak already, and in reality is because I'm a Muslim, and I actually find it really nice to acknowledge the fact that the people in Egypt, they actually wear that protect them from all the sandstorms, especially for the girls.
Yep.
So kind of like an maybe not really wanted but subtle hint for the cultural reference there.
Exactly.
Huh.
And
Okay, that's actually a pretty good point. Yeah.
Interesting.
yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, that's how the headwear for the Muslim girls started, all the way in Egypt.
Huh.
Interesting.
Wow, that's amazing.
The more you know.
I wasn't expecting a history lesson today.
I'm learning about history.
I like the fact that the show actually put her in there with that design, because shows that they actually respect all the different cultures and not just focus mostly on America a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the show was made in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that neat how it's Canadian, yet we
Everyone
have
calls it
culture?
American, but it's
Oh,
really
American. Well, yeah.
Well, Canada is one of my friendliest neighbors, so can't blame them.
Oh, Canada.
Ow.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, so the world building is also Neon's point, so Neon, you go next.
Thank you,
Well,
Professor Violet.
Class dismissed.
Well, one thing before I get to my positive point is actually I'm kind of waiting for the German reference then in the show already.
Well, we already have
Although-
a Polish.
You first.
In a way, we actually have a Polish reference in the. Actually, to be more specific, the Polish mythology.
Hang on, what? Really?
Cockatrice.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They were from.
That's a reference to Polish legend about the basilisk. The
Yeah,
exact same design and the abilities to turn everyone into stone by looking at them.
yeah, that's a good point.
Hey, I thought that was from another country.
Nope, that legend is well known in Poland.
Huh.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
By the way,
Well-
the legend ends the same way that the legend of Medusa in Greek mythology ends.
Yeah, it works the same way.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. More the connection to that.
But
I was more so reminded of Medusa when I saw the back for whatever reason.
But anyways.
Well, if you be really focused, then you could say that the one cake in Rarity Investigates is kind of like a reference to Germany, since it's the Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte. But that's a little bit far-fetched, to be honest. At least for my taste. Especially since A and Y didn't get that reference.
Pun intended. Well, you intended to use that as a pun.
No, because it's actually a known fact when I was asking George about that little cameo of A and Y in his not taken too seriously episode.
No, before that. You
Like
said-
the whole thing not fitting your taste.
No, that was actually not intentional, to be honest.
Anyways, back to
Well,
the topic.
Yeah. Well, my positive is more or less something which is more for all the last episodes from the Legend series, and that is actually the balance between knowledge from the episode and the need to actually see the comic. It's more like you understand the whole concept itself. The episode makes sense completely without necessarily see the comic.
Campfire Tales also.
Yeah, that's a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Campfire
I
Tales,
think even sorry.
Campfire Tales also had that advantage.
And that's,
Yeah,
that's even. You first.
Go on.
I disagree with that.
And hey, even Sketchy pointed out that this is a good way to tie the both comic and show, but not necessarily having, but wait, not having mandatory, not be mandatory to read the comic.
Yeah, truth to be
Because-
told, if I would really had the money right now, I would actually get those comics right away.
Well, there's a
I have
channel
to be
on
honest
YouTube,
here.
but there's a channel on YouTube where you can read this comic.
Yeah, but you know what I mean by that. It's not like I have to actually buy it first in order to get the whole shebang, but I can't get it when I'm really interested in, because I'm knowing the story itself in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a good thing that this comic are the story in the show is a prequel to what happened in the comic.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's a clever way. Something that I kind of talked with Golden Fox on Twitch not so long ago during one of the streams.
Mm-hmm. And that's coming from someone who hates the comics the most, by the way. We all know that. Yeah, it's kind of like that was something I was really afraid of when I was hearing that those episodes were based on the comic, that they will really fall into that typical DLC shebang, so to speak.
Right.
And I have to say, so far, it's a good streak for all of the episodes, and I definitely liked it in that one as well.
Well, it's not the
That's-
first. Well, to be fair, it's not the first time that the show has made reference to the comics. Only point of view.
Yeah, but this time we can tell that this comic are referenced directly,
Yeah,
rather
Firstly,
than just
that.
take some background idea.
Yeah, true.
Hey,
Firstly, that, and second, it doesn't leave any open wrong representations.
That's true.
Because that was actually what Golden Fox has pointed out in his, I think it was one video with Dr. Wolf where they were talking about the necessity of the comics, that fans actually use that as an excuse that there is an explanation for plot devices or plot holes in general.
Non-canon. Doesn't count.
Exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem.
the comics
and
aren't canon.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's not like it doesn't leave a complete open hole, which you have to fill with some interpretation, which is not canon. But still, it is necessary to know about the comic.
Let me put it this way: there are universes like that we know not much about, so it's kind of necessary to expand them by comic or books or other things. But the correct way is to make them kind of needed, but also not necessary. Prime example I have always used: Star Wars. You can tell much in, say, 6 movies, but you can expand much in the novels and comic books.
Yeah.
However, the movies are written in a way that you don't need to know about those extended media. However, if you read them, you actually might read some things, because the books are also written in a way that they have to be canon. But the comic, in MLP, it's a different story. We can tell you many times, and I told you many times, there are too many plot holes in the comic books to actually fit in the actual timeline of the show.
I can actually agree with that. Looking back on it.
MLP comic are more like official fan fictions.
Pretty much.
I was actually going to say that those comics for those episodes are actually the good ones, and the other ones were the bad. But okay, let's go with your story.
Okay, these comics are confirmed canon, and don't get me wrong, because I can also use this as my negative in previous episodes, so I won't use it in this episode. However, oh, shit! I lost the track. Where are we?
Lost for words.
Anyways, anything else you want to say, Neon?
Not really. That's actually everything.
Alright, who do you pass it off to?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moo.
Oh, I know what I wanted to say.
Okay, then in that case, say it real quick.
Okay, real quick, because I like some stories in the comic. It's just I want actually to some of them be canonized, but not in a way that directly put the same story, but tweak it and put to the story to fit in the timeline. Say Night of Rarity would be cool.
Yeah. Just not in a way where it was another being possessing one, like how.
Yeah, especially after the Princess Dream of Magic Ship, having Luna in the same state would not be fitting.
It would not.
So that's what I mean, tweaking the story.
Yeah. Anyways, who do you pass it off to, Neon?
I can actually see where you're coming from with that, and I'm actually thinking that something like that arc could work in later season. Just wanted to say that real quick. Well, Red Pony, do your thing.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Wait, you mean me, Bat Pony? You mean me, Bat Pony, right?
Well, is there any other one here?
Which
You're the
Bat
only
Pony?
Bat Pony in here, aren't you?
Endless is also a bad pony.
Oh, oops.
Done goofed.
I think he meant me though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured. Alright, go ahead, Balto.
Alright, so positives, I actually have quite a few things here. I'm surprised no one else mentioned some of these, but first off, while Rainbow Dash did sort of have her fangasm moment, she seemed to care more about the actual pony rather than Daring. Like, she seemed to care more about AK Yearling so than Daring Do, which I kind of like, because in previous episodes where they've been together, she seemed to care more about this adventurous Daring Do character that she's been looking up to since season 2. But in this case, she's actually looking out more for her friend, and I think that's more important.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised no one else got to that. But next thing I have for my positives, this is kind of minor.
One thing.
Yeah, just one thing, buddy.
Okay, then move on then. I guess pass it to Endless.
Bad pony.
Alrighty.
Exactly.
See, I am Featherbanks.
Anyways, go on, Endless.
Alright, so what I liked about this episode is the world building, because I like adventure, and when I see new settings and like movies, TV shows, and books, it's just really exciting to explore these new areas that I've never seen before.
I agree on that.
Yeah, me too.
And seeing like Pony Egypt was awesome. All the character designs and like, it's really unique.
It is.
And the backgrounds were beautiful, especially near the hotel.
Anything else you want to say about that, Endless?
Giant cat pony for the win!
Hey, Apollo, you weren't big enough for that cat pony.
That's not a cat pony, that's a cat horse.
Pretty fast enough to Endless?
Crimson.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, Endless took a lot of good points that I could have used, but okay.
Yeah, to be honest, what I forgot to mention actually, Endless, that was actually my positive at the beginning, but the one I got was actually more for all the episodes altogether. That's why I chose that one.
Well, okay. I like the positive how they was going into the temple, I guess, while that Pony in the Cloak was explaining. No, not Pony in the Cloak. That stranger who was explaining the history of what the Ancient Egypt was like back in their time. And they did the exact same thing where Rainbow Dash got kidnapped. And I like how Daring Do was saying, like, she panicked, like there wasn't anything she could have done, there wasn't a bridge. But, as you know, aka Venom, your cousin, did a magnificent job figuring out a way to get over to Rainbow Dash.
Which I'll get to in a bit. But anyways.
But yeah, I like the design of the temple. It was the moment there did seem a bit anticlimactic there for a second, but it also got interesting at the same time. All in all, that is my positive. I'm not going to press on any further. Who hasn't went yet?
Let's see. That would be Looney.
I believe. Yep.
David. And no,
that's it.
No, that's it. Just Looney or David.
Okay.
So who do you pass it
Who's
off to?
gonna do? David, go.
Alright, your turn, David.
Oh, all right.
I get to go away.
I'm glad everybody is still watching. Okay.
Yep.
Let me talk. No, I'm just joking. Okay.
Jeez. Okay then.
I didn't do anything.
My positive. Okay. I know this has been said already, but I just want to add on to it. Okay. Pinkie Pie.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna add on. I know Sharpwit talked about Pinkie Pie already, but amazing performance. haven't you noticed that she wasn't as in your face as other episodes?
Friend indeed.
Subtle.
Oh my.
Philly Vanilli.
Yeah, okay. We'll name that one too.
Yeah, I'm over
But
it.
yeah. Pinkie Pie in this episode was helpful. She was really, helpful to the other characters.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't butting in. She wasn't being a nuisance. No offense,
Not taken.
okay? But she was, standing back and she was giving advice.
Mm-hmm.
So that was basically my positive. Not to mention the backgrounds. The backgrounds were beautiful.
Oh, yes, they were.
True.
So I guess, Looney, you're up next.
Alright, Looney, you'll go.
Right. My positive lies with the tale of Somnambula and the Sphinx. Most especially with the teachers. Somnambula's personality and her quality of never giving up hope made me connect with her on a very personal level. I think it's safe to say that we've all been in situations before where it seemed like all hope was lost.
I have.
Yeah, that's very well to be said.
I connect with it personally because if you've been keeping up with me lately, I've been through a lot of struggles that I felt really hopeless through, such as the possibility of losing friends or going back to college. My hope would have been lost without you guys there to come with me, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy.
Anytime.
That's what we're here for. We're all friends here.
I feel like the moral of this episode came at the time when I needed it most, so I highly praise it for that. Also, I recently got the opportunity to read the comic that introduced Somnambula, and if any of you haven't read it yet, you really should. It's very inspiring.
Yeah, it was a good read. I highly recommend it.
Technically, the story that introduces Somnambula is in the show, and the comic is expanding. But I think, yeah, I read this comic too.
Well, yeah.
Like a real DLC.
Well,
I thought the comic came before the show.
No,
Actually, no. This time comic came after the episode.
I do believe that was for the fact with the summer break. Could it be?
Yeah. What was shown in this episode was actually a prequel to the legend in the comic.
Oh, my mistake then.
Same thing.
Just like the Campfire Tales.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty clever. But anyways.
But anyway, yeah, my positive would be the moral for this episode.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I love the moral it tries to teach.
Speaking of moral, that's something that I actually kind of think I see a pattern here with the, I would say, moral emotions that actually have been taught in the last episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's far-fetched theory here, but could it be like the original source for the elements of harmony as well?
Maybe.
That could be a good point.
Maybe.
Well, I saw that tweet too.
Like not like those ponies were the actual pre-bearers, but like the stories and legends were somewhat the orange and faucet elements.
Well, I heard a theory that the ponies in the legend are actually that the main sets are actually reincarnations of the ponies in the legends.
I've heard that theory.
Yeah, did anybody catch that?
I saw it.
In a way, I would actually be one of those who hop on to that thought, but
Yeah, it depends on how they do it.
Exactly. And I think we have to at least see the rest of those episodes before we can make a solid conclusion.
As well as the rest of the comics.
Exactly.
As well, yeah.
Because I think there is also one legend, and after that there will be two special issues when they will team up together.
Hang on a second, who's actually missing?
Mage Meadowbrook.
Can't wait for her to finally be mentioned after 2-3 seasons.
If you
She
would
mentioned
see
back in the
this
season 5 opener.
By the way, if you would see the prequel for this comic, you would be actually surprised. Well, but I will talk about this a little later, because that also ties with this legend.
Damn it, now I really need to get those books.
There was a shit about Major Metal book in the season 5 opener. He sounds familiar.
Anyways, Looney, it's time to move on to negatives. And oh boy, it's gonna be a doozy.
Good boy. I got a ton to say about this one.
Everybody, brace yourself.
Yes,
Brace yourself. Out is coming.
May as well pop yourself some popcorn, because I'm going to be here for a while.
Lock yourself in the closet.
Just remember, Looney, one thing.
I've only got one thing.
Oh boy, here we go.
While the unique setting and the return of Daring Do was cool, what I really dislike about this episode is its predictability. Every single thing in this episode, I could see it coming a mile away.
Yeah, once you see the pony in the cloak spreading those rumors, you could see everything that's coming a mile away.
To be honest,
oh man.
Even before then, I knew that some pony had framed Daring Do.
Sorry.
The heck was that?
That was Crimson.
Yeah, announcer from Crimson Campus.
Alright, it's okay. Don't worry, I muted myself before that happened.
The cloaked pony turning out to be Dr. Caballon was way too easy to guess. I mean, like, couldn't they have disguised him a little more to conceal it was him? Like, he changed his voice or color his muzzle or something?
Yes, like shave his beard.
As soon as I heard him, my first thought was, yep, he's the one that framed Daring Do. I see exactly where this one's going. I know this one's going to end.
you know, Looney, as a matter of fact, when Daring Do showed those articles, I knew that's Dr. Caballon. Like, Dr. Caballon is framing Daring Do. I just knew from that moment that's him.
Yeah, he did have his poop prints written all over it.
And that was pretty obvious once putting all the pieces and puzzles together. It's not rocket science, after all.
Which was not hard at all.
Well, you gotta admit that Dr. Caballon is Daring Do's #1 adversary.
That's true.
Awizoru?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, where is he?
Yeah, what happened to Awizoru? I haven't seen him since season 4.
Season 4, yeah.
Good point, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm still laughing at that part in one of Daring Do's comics, how she was just sweet talking at him just for mockery.
Yeah.
I have 3 Daring Do books. Just
That wasn't that exactly that episode?
Maybe they finally got engaged after all.
Oh, for crying out loud! No!
What the heck?
Oh God, no!
Venom, can you take that part out?
Yeah, well, moving on.
Anyway, that's all I had to say.
That's all? Okay. David?
Okay. Negatives. Wow. Rainbow Dash.
Oh my gosh.
Where were the writers when they were writing Rainbow Dash's part?
Which one?
Sleep on the job.
Okay, listen for a minute. When Rainbow Dash got easily captured and she was screaming for help, that's not Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, first off, that is something that Rainbow Dash could have avoided very easily, and second of all, since it was in public and in the town square, how come no pony even noticed?
Exactly. Why didn't any pony help her or help, like, and Pinkie Pie? She was like, "Oh, Rainbow Dash!" Like, boom! Come on, help another.
I'm guessing none of them wasn't near them, or doesn't have super sensitive hearing or good hearing for that matter.
They were near them. I don't understand why they were right there.
Because the story gave them the stupid stick.
Yeah.
And maybe because Daring Do was there as the AK yearling, not as Daring Do, and since Daring Do was wanted in the city, she would have compromised her disguise if she would done something. Same as Pinkie if she would actually have talked something about it.
That part I could buy.
Mm-hmm.
That part I could buy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I gotta admit that those crowded scenes are probably really hard to write for.
Yeah, they really are.
So, anyways, yeah.
Anything else,
And
bud?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Alright, Crimson?
Let's see. Well, I was gonna get onto the subject about that one about Rainbow Dash, but I got something even better than that.
Oh boy, what is it?
Oh, let's just say freaking Daring Do's arch #1 nemesis or something like that. Oh boy. Would I want Geek to just do something to make his day even worse?
That's not Awizolo, by the way.
I think we could at least name him #1 henchman
Yeah, that's the one.
emissary. That would be actually the best
Yeah,
one.
that would be better. But I knew what you were saying, though. Continue.
Still, I know he was framing Daring Do, and AK Yearling had a good reason to do what she did by concealing her identity and giving up writing her own books, which was kind of a smart idea because the last thing she needs is to get into more trouble.
Yeah, that's a fair point too.
There are other forms of media that actually did this story better. Just saying.
Still, either when I just kind of figured it was him again, I'm like, you're never gonna live it down whenever you get embarrassed by her, don't you? Like, that's what my brain was saying. Just give up and just don't even try anymore. Like, it's not even worth it. And for my negatives, that will be all.
Alright, Endless?
Well then.
And my negative is pretty much similar to David's with that one scene when Cavallero revealed himself. Surprise, surprise.
Like, ooh, I know who you are.
That was my negative.
Yeah, if you think that Rony Investigates was obvious, get a load of this.
Okay, I mean, now, I really think, like, since he was right there, I'm like, Rainbow Dash, uppercut him. It's not your chance. And I'm like, really? They're not going to put that in there? Like, seriously, uppercut the man. He's right there.
To be fair, during Rarely Investigates, I had a little doubt that maybe it's not a rider, but it was him. But this time, Caballero didn't even have to show up to be known.
Yeah, like the scene in the pastry place there, it actually kind of made me doubt my assumption on Wind Rider. Like, maybe it could have been Spitfire, just looking for a day off. But,
By the way, that wasn't a pastry place. No.
You know what I meant, though.
But it was a temptation.
But to be honest, actually, it might sound funny, but for me it was really the other way around. It didn't really bother me in this episode in comparison to in Rarely Investigates.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think the main reason why is because we are actually familiar with the enemy in this episode.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, very.
And I guess I guess that's actually what, for me at least, kind of saves the predictability. I mean, let's play it out for a second. What would be if it would be a new enemy out of the blue for Daring Do, which we never even heard about?
It would be a twist in a bad way.
I mean, I could as far as go now for the upcoming game from Sonic Forces with Infinity, because, let's face it, I don't really know how to get head and tails with him as well. And that would be actually almost the same situation. And that would be for a 20-minute episode.
I can see what you mean.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyways, Endless, do you have anything else to say?
No, I just think the third act as a whole was terrible.
Alright, Ball Twist?
Excuse me.
Well then.
No, boy. think we know where this might go.
Negatives are my thing, just so you know.
We noticed.
Indeed.
I've noticed.
Speaking of which, some of you took some of the big ones, except for one. Okay, so we all think that AK Yearling is going to be covered and whatnot because her books don't release in Southern Equestria. And that's all fine and dandy, but answer me this. Let's say one of these southern ponies wants to take some vacation to whatever side of Equestria Ponyville is on, or some other place where the books are sold, and they just happen to stumble upon these books and know all this. Like, what happens then? Can they notify authorities that Dr. Caballero is on the loose and that he can actually be obtained if the Royal Guard would actually get off their lazy fucking do something?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
It is a bit contrived.
Yeah, another good point. Royal Guards, do your job or something. Matter of fact, there wasn't even a guard near that civilization where Daring Do and the rest of them were, which I don't know why that.
They have guards in Egypt? Oh.
If they
You would think with so many ancient artifacts nearby, there would be some pony that are guarded.
That's true.
Well, in that point, I kind of have to pull out almost every Indiana Jones movie because they're not actually really guards other than mercenaries.
Yeah, fair enough.
And when you think about mercenaries and it's around money, I'm not sure if they are really that better than the actual Royal Guard in, like I said, Candelot.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
No offense there.
You got anything else, Balto?
I do not. I let that rage out. Whoever was before me, go.
Alright, Neon?
That would be me, yeah. Actually, I don't really have a real negative for the episode, but I wanted to actually point something out. And that was something I saw in the recent episode review from Dr. Wolf, that the kind of like the scenario when Daring Do and Pinky were trying to rescue Rainbow with the whole jumping over that acid thing. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
in a way, I can see where he's coming from with this, but technically, this whole... it sounds crazy, but I think the whole mechanic of those, I call it for easy now, jump pads, could actually work.
Really?
By the power of bullshit.
No, not even bullshit. Not even bullshit. I think I even have a somewhat explanation for this.
I might too, but still will be a bullshit explanation, because in the real world, steam like this would have to be high pressurized and high temperature to have enough pushing power to push the pony, even if we would assume that Pegasus ponies are lighter because that, just like the birds, have lighter bones, so that allows them to fly.
Yeah, no offense, but then you can take that theory against Pinky.
It's Pinky, but I don't question it.
Yeah. But, like I said, it could be actually technically possible that something like that could be in the structure, even from the time when it was built.
Yeah, I can...
Felt like a false Deus Ex Machina to me.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
Yeah, but here's one problem with that, though. There's one single problem with that statement. It wasn't even shown earlier in the episode that those things exist. Like, have you noticed in the legend, you didn't even see those vents anywhere? And even before Pinky jumped in, you didn't see the vents until they both jumped in.
And
well,
besides,
in that case, I could actually...
And besides,
in that case, I have to actually...
One at a time, please.
Sorry.
Me too. It's every time us two. It's really that. Well, in that case, I actually have to pull out almost every single video game who has somewhat of that mechanic as well, where you can't actually see it at first.
Still,
It may work for video game logic, but not for cartoon logic.
I mean, the best explanation now comes even from one of my personal worst games of Spyro Hero's Tale. where you have to freeze water streams to actually use them as platforms, which you don't see and can't use at the beginning because those are busted pipes.
No, that's a good point and all, but this isn't a video game.
Still, what is the point of having those steam vents in a pool of acid when there was also a bridge above it? What is the point? What purpose do those serve?
What even happened to the bridge anyway?
Well, for the bridge, I would say time eated it through. I mean, think about it. How old was that legend?
Yeah, there was a bit still there?
Yeah, if that's the case, then how did Rainbow Dash get to the center anywhere?
But considering that neither the Caballero or Hedge ponies, they don't have wings, how did they do that? Okay, we can't assume that there was a bridge, but they cut it out and bridge fell off, so that's why there was no bridge. Okay,
yeah,
that's what we can assume.
And I think those vents were actually the reason why the pillar itself even was able to go down.
Yeah, I'll buy that aspect.
If we would assume that way this team wouldn't have enough pushing force to push Daring Do and Pinkie Pie.
And what about the heat that the acid actually produced by being around the compressed air? I mean, we can assume that the acid is not strong enough or not capable of eating through A, the vents, or B, the stone which the pillar is made of. So there must be a somewhat empty space where the pillar has to go down through in order to actually sink, which causes the air pressure.
But with the number of the vents and how fast this pillar was sinking, there is still not enough pressure in those.
Reversed engine mechanic? Think about it as a normal engine from a car, only that the released air is actually the used one from the whole scenario.
I love how this podcast is now focused on deducing that.
Yeah, I should have said that we're actually going into game theory here, or at least episode theory.
Okay, guys, look, we are talking about mechanics now.
Yeah. Okay, let's just move on before it gets.
We're getting way too.
Sorry,
This is Brony's more honest than you level of getting off.
Yeah, but for me it was actually because the construction of mechanics and the materials that have been used somewhat was actually the things I have been selling as a wholesaler in my schooling. That's why.
Oh,
we've gone off on quite a tangent here.
I still call bullshit on that.
I think we should all write a book.
I say my verdict is possible but not plausible.
Mm-hmm.
My verdict
is not
bullshit.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to say. I don't want to dismiss it as complete bullshit, more or less, or in a way how Dr. Wolf said it.
No, but you brought up some good issues. You know that's understandable.
Yeah, you did. But anything else on that, Neon?
And hey, that's just a theory.
Okay.
Don't.
Sorry, I had to. Especially since Endless is talking in the chat. I'm sorry. I had to.
We had to let it happen.
Exactly. Matt Tat, I'm sorry, I'm loving your videos, but we have to go through that at least once.
Anyway.
I'm done with my point. The next one, please.
Okay. Violet?
Oh boy. Okay, first off,
Go on.
whenever Sharper and Neon get a little note, whenever Sharper and Neon get on debate, you know it's gonna take a while for them to stop.
Like I said, we two really have to do a collab one day. That would be a fest.
At least it was entertaining.
Yeah, good point.
Indeed.
But anyways.
Negative is Yeah, my negative is actually the fact that eh, we don't hear the actual voice of the characters in the legend because we only hear how the old man talks about the legend with their dialogue, unlike the Campfire Tales.
I thought that made it for me,
Mhm.
Yeah, it didn't really bother me though.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
really more
don't
of a
think it
nitpick,
bothered
but
me as much.
it's more of a nitpick because you guys took out most of the big points that's actually in my negative list.
Well, I got plenty where that came from.
Once again, I
I'm
say,
sorry there, Secret Cube. You can have my
welcome.
hat. You can have my hat now. You can just stomp on it if you want.
Anyway,
Anyway, that's pretty much it. So, Sharpwood,
Lord,
Okay. Shut up. Can I?
Sorry.
go on.
Okay. As much as I like the Legend of Somnambula, in fact, I still like the Mistmate, but Somnambula is pretty close to it. It creates a one big. Okay, Balto, don't get me wrong, but your echo is kind of distracting. So, could you please mute yourself?
Me?
Yes, you.
Thank you. I was hoping to have a point that out.
Mute the stream or something, whatever. Okay.
I think he already did, but continue.
Okay. Anyway, where was I? Ah, yeah. As much as I like this legend, it creates a plot hole in the lore. Remember the season 6, the Crystal Link,
Yes.
Yes.
when Sunburst talked about the solution to how to fix the Crystal Heart, and he mentioned also this to kind of control the weather and push it back. He refers to it as a somnambula spell. But
there's
it
one,
will.
but there's one
But there,
problem with that. Sonambula is not a unicorn.
exactly,
I
because
think
back
I know
then,
where it's going from.
because back then, okay, we could assume that Somnambula is probably some sort of magically talented character. Because I like the fact that this is the reference to the original Somnambula from G1, but this time it's completely 180-degree character. Instead of the human evil witch, she's a pony Pegasus. But this is the problem. First, the show introduces her as a magical talented character who invented spells. Then they are telling the actual legend of Somnambula, and they are introduce her as a Pegasus, which is established in the lore that they have no ability to perform magic.
I actually have something to say about that.
What's that?
Well, she is a Pegasus, and Pegasi are known for like doing stuff to the weather, and it was a weather spell that Sunburst mentioned.
Okay, but here's the thing. The weather spell doesn't mean you had not. It's not necessarily the same as the passive ability to control the weather.
But she could be actually the main figure in actually figuring the spell out.
Both accounts, and maybe someone else crafted the spell and named it after her. Because of the similar
That's
ability.
the only possible explanation. But other than that, there is no way Somnambula, according to existing lore, there's no way Somnambula could create spell by herself.
That is true.
Yeah,
That's another
that
point.
is a legit point there.
So this is pretty much at this moment pretty big point, which I don't know if I should mention it because it's kind of spoiler territory. But there will be. Well, let me put it this way: this might not be the first case and only.
Noted. So, you want to move on then?
Yes.
Now we need a Sunburst episode which explains that.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
But
Which I would be gladly supporting because I want to see more of Sunburst. No offense.
yeah, I want to see more Sunburst too. I'm just ashamed we didn't get to see him in the season 6 finale.
Yeah.
I don't mind seeing Sunburst as long as you're not shipping him with Starlight because Starlight for the win.
Because how much we got sunburst up to this point? I don't know, 3 times?
Yeah, but he wasn't like a central part of the episode or like a side. I don't know. He wasn't really.
He wasn't the premiere.
Kinda, sorta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
other than that, he was pretty much a background pony.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyways, I guess it's my flaw now.
Get the soapbox.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this could be good.
Oh, am I gonna have fun tearing this episode apart?
In 3,
That pony is going to be
2.
daring without any armor protection at all because
But anyways,
Any pony want some popcorn?
sure.
may I?
Alright, let Venom speak, come on.
Okay, I'm gonna have some fun tearing this episode apart because it's little with many plot holes and inconsistencies in its writing. But I suppose for my negative here today, I might as well talk about my biggest problem. The entire ending was total bullcrap.
Whoa.
But okay, let's start with the airbends thing. Okay, first off, if they were always in there, where were they cited in the legend and before Inky and Daring to jump in? It just felt like it was pushed out of their hats. And also, am I the only one that felt like this was a total missed opportunity for another Indiana Jones reference?
Leap of faith.
Exactly, thank you!
Yeah.
It would have been a lot better and it would have actually made a lot more sense because, okay, maybe the bridge was actually fabricated by the Sphinx. It's like an hallucination or something. That would have been great!
To be honest, I actually was expecting the invisible bridge, like the in Last Crusade. But no, bullshit.
I was too, and I was mostly disappointed because this was a perfect opportunity. They only went on board with the only Indiana Jones references in the past two episodes, so why can't you go any further? But
I think they actually haven't done it because they have used it so much in the previous ones. They wanted to play it safe.
yeah, but this was the perfect opportunity to emphasize that for the sake of the story.
They didn't want to reference too much of Indiana Jones, but they did it in a way that they actually referenced the fourth movie by making it probably the weakest of all.
Yeah, and here's the funny. I'll get to that in a little later. But yeah, the whole airplane thing. I understand that there might be some explanation behind it, like Neon pointed out. But I'm sorry, the way it was executed was just. It just felt like it was pulled. It just felt like it was pulled out of nowhere. And really, I do think the invisible bridge idea would have been a lot better. Because it wouldn't be able to see. Maybe it would be a true test for Daring Do to actually be filled with hope. You know, like she was losing a lot of hope because of the backlash she's been getting at that point. Maybe it would have been a true test for her. Like show that there was still hope within her soul, and the invisible bridge would show that. I do think it would have been a huge missed opportunity, not for just for the Indiana Jones reference, but also expanding on Daring Do as a character. And yeah, that was actually my biggest problem, and that was actually what turned the episode off for me. It was just that one moment. It just completely fell apart.
You know what? Now that you mention that, I think this scene with Pinky jumping in would make more sense if it wouldn't be the other way around. Because now that you pointed out the reference with Indiana Jones, I mean, it was obvious for me too, but I actually didn't really thought about it because, let's be honest, Pinky would be one of the only characters we know so far who would pull off a crazy stunt like that, with the exception of Rainbow, but she was out of business in that moment.
Right.
But in that moment, Pinky was actually the Indiana Jones character in that sense. And I think that's what breaks the immersion of the reference as well.
Yeah, it did.
To be honest, in my opinion, this events could be kind of saved by the fact their existence if instead of the actual legend, instead of the bridge, we would have the Somnambula would have to also make the leap of faith without the bridge, and then she would somehow reach the prince, and boom, and that will be a legend that for some strange reason, without ability to fly, she reached the prince, even though she had no way to. Then there maybe the Woods kind of saved those bridge.
Yeah, but I think that actually breaks off 2 points in that. A, it would be way too obvious when it would be there in the beginning, because let's face it, if the whole steam jumps would have been shown in the legend as well.
No.
Then this episode would have been even more predictable.
That's what I kind of meant by that.
The legend.
What are you saying?
What I mean, the legend wouldn't mention directly that she jumped on those steam vents.
Like maybe have a subtle hint about it.
That how magic.
Chocolate?
To your point, though. Huh?
Did I cut it out?
Yeah, you cut
Kinda,
out.
I think.
Yes, it did cut out.
At least less than my mental. What I was saying that the legend would mention only the fact that there was no bridge and her wings were crippled, and even then, Somnambula made a leap of faith, and somehow, for some reason, she reached the pillar. But the legend wouldn't mention those air vents.
Actually, that would be a lot more inspiring.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I could see that they would have cut back to no time as soon as they got to the end.
Even though the event still would be a bullshit, at least they would have the reason to exist.
Yeah, like have it foreshadowed.
Exactly. But no. Somnambula had a bridge and had to go blindly.
No offense, but if you would say foreshadowing that, then your argument for being predictable would be invalid.
It's a give and take situation, to be honest.
I mean, if they would have shown it, that is.
Yeah, it's a give and take. But anyways, I wouldn't think. Okay, I can look past some of the plot holes. Like, okay, if the books are walking towards the southern regions of Equestria, then what's stopping them from what's stopping the trade market from actually carrying the books to that?
For that, I could explain probably also the bullshit way. Maybe they like an Amish. They separate themselves from the northern Equestria.
Okay, that I can buy. If that was emphasized, then I can actually buy that.
I was actually more thinking about the logistics and actually being able to sell said books there.
Given that the current state at that point, it wouldn't be a good idea. But go on, you first.
Yeah, that's actually where my profession is coming in as well as a wholesaler, because if we're going from the situation that the books are published in Canterlot, Ponyville, in that area, and being able to ship those books in whatever amounts to that settlement, think about all the costs for the transport, the taxes, and everything else. It wouldn't make any sense actually selling them for, like, I don't know, 3 times the original price to actually even able to sell back those costs. And to actually be able to avoid that would be meaning there would be someone who is willing to print and publish said books in that area. And let's face it, that settlement didn't really look like there was some place where you can actually print books.
Fair enough. So yeah, I will get that. Okay, I'll get that leeway. But there are other plot holes that I had a lot of problems with. I just wanted to point out my biggest problem.
Yeah. Also, you could actually go for the cultural problem as well, because that's maybe something Violet could actually answer us. Is there maybe some books or maybe even media which is not be shown in your country because of reasons from the government? Gloomy?
Yeah, that's actually true. It actually happened.
Yeah.
So in a way, it could actually be pointed out to that as well, like Bloomy said, with the cultural references with the capes and everything.
And to be honest, now we are can I, if I may? Now we are talking, if you think about it, even in Riders of the Lost Ark, even though they were in Egypt and there were Nazis there, the actual Egypt was kind of behind when it comes to technology and stuff like this and culture. It was still behind in a way, so that also could explain the thing.
Fair
Hey,
enough.
hey, that gives me an idea. What if down in southern Equestria, maybe they have a different written language than they do in the rest of Equestria? Maybe that's why they can't be published down there.
That would be the third reason in terms of logistic.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that. So I will
Because
I will
that's
give that a
actually
read.
yeah, because that is actually which I have been discussing with Inkros as well, since she actually published her own first book as well.
That's true.
That she don't has anyone who is able to translate those books in other languages, so she would actually have a chance to sell them outside of the US.
Fair enough.
And
Because
even
I was
if it,
You first.
yeah, I just wanted to say because I actually was offering her to translate it a little bit just for so to speak to free, because it would for me a little bit of practice for my English, and I would be able to read the book as well because I'm actually really curious about her title she has made. But then she would need someone who can actually print it in Germany, which is actually the same problem.
Anyways, we might as well move on before it gets a little too off topic. But anyways, yeah, I mean, like I said, I had a lot of problems for this episode of how it's written. Rainbow Dash being one of them. You know, okay, this is because of the typical damsel in distress. Didn't you guys already mock the damsel in distress trope like way back in the early days of the show? Dog or pony show, anyone?
All right, that.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. I remember the Dog and Pony Show.
So, you're using a trope that you actually mocked earlier.
Uh-huh.
Okay then. So, anyways, let's get to the ranks before I really start to explode.
Oh, okay.
So,
Then we'd have a fluffy mess to clean up.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
so
Yeah.
So, Elite Yoshi couldn't make it today because of connection problems, but he actually did give a rating for this episode, and he actually gave it a 4 out of 5.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, as for me, I will say one more thing. I've noticed something. My opinions on the Daring Do episodes actually kind of mirrors my thoughts on the Indiana Jones movies. Think about it. Being a Weeb is, well, one of my favorite episodes of the show. It's my favorite of the Daring Do episodes, which had a lot of ties into Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is, in my opinion, the best Indiana Jones movie, and one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Daring don't have the controversy, particularly revolving around the idea of Daring Do being real. Temple of Doom has a lot of controversy because of how dark it was. And, in fact, Temple of Doom was actually the reason why the PG-13 rating was made. Fun fact. And my thoughts on both of these accounts were just good, but not great.
Well then.
That's fair enough.
Strange in the fanfiction. And a lot of great jokes, a lot of great comedy. So did The Last Crusade. It was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. And it was one of my top favorites. Daring Done had a lot of plot holes, a lot of writing inconsistencies, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was a total mess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is like an exact mirror of my thoughts on the Indiana Jones movies.
Maybe that was the point, to actually reference the Indiana Jones in that way?
Nah.
Hashtag Illuminati confirmed.
I don't know, I'm just giving the bullshit explanation.
Can I also say one thing about the Daring Do episodes so far?
You don't like them?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I actually like all of them, but well, with the exception of the first one. But this is the first time we've had a Daring Do episode in an odd number season.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually didn't think about that.
And the first time we had 2 seasons back to back.
But anyway, yeah, it kind of mirrors my thoughts on the Indiana Jones movies. First one was fantastic. Second one was good, but not great. Third one had a lot of fun with. Fourth one just flat up sucked. So yeah, as you can really tell, I really don't like this episode. It's not honest apple bad, but it's definitely among the worst of the season to me, right alongside Triple Threat. So
Hashtag Illuminati confirmed.
I'm giving this episode.
Oh god.
I'm giving this episode 2 stars.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
I mean,
Oh.
don't get me wrong, it does have a good element. The legend itself was very, very interesting. Pinkie Pie was written well as a character, probably the only written well character in the episode. And like David pointed out, the backgrounds are just beautiful. I really love this. I love the setting. I love the world building with the culture. I love the backgrounds. But all the inconsistencies in the writing and the plot holes and the characterizations, it just really turned me off.
Can I just mention one thing?
Yes?
I think the Daring Do episodes overall are very hard to write for because of the culture and the authenticity of them.
Yeah.
You know what makes what makes problematic to write them? The fact that Daring Do is the living thing instead of the fictional character.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it would be much easier to write the Daring Do episode if she wouldn't be a real character.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I actually see the biggest problem because of the big reference and comparison to the Indiana Jones movie. I think that is actually the biggest problem. Because you kind of expected it to be like this, and then it doesn't really fit into the world. I think that's the problem.
Well, it's like, how can we make these episodes less like Indiana Jones and more like Indiana Jones? Where can we find a balance?
Fair enough. Chocolate? Your rating, if you please.
Me, because of course my call lagged.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Stay you ahead in the game, Shoppy.
Anyways, Shock, you may present your rating.
I think I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, great. My rating will probably be close to you, Venom. 2.5 out of 5, because I had this fun with this episode. I like the legend. I like the fact that they canonized Samia even though she's completely opposite of what she was in G1, like I mentioned before. But you've pretty much mentioned everything. So many plot holes, so many badly written characters, except for Pinky, which, by the way, this episode pretty much made her my third favorite of the main 6.
You have learned well. Anywho.
But that's the subject to change. However, yeah, like I said, the episode too much of a plot holes, too much of badly written parts. No, so if I would joke, I would say bullshit out of 10. But the real rating 2.5 out of 5.
Okie dokie. Violet?
Well, anyway, yeah, I actually agree. I actually agree with both of you on the negative parts and everything. But honestly, for me, my rating is all based on my enjoyment of the episode.
Fair enough.
And I actually enjoyed this episode despite all the plot holes and everything. So, yeah. I guess because of my enjoyment, I actually give this episode a 4.
Okay.
Hmm.
I can respect that.
We're going to be very divided on this episode.
I mean, like me and Sharpwet said, there are some good stuff. There are a lot of good stuff in it.
Hmm.
We just got too distracted by the plot holes to really fully enjoy it.
Yeah, you just have to overlook the plot holes.
Basically, it requires a huge suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, it's like, oh, why did that pony just do that?
Neon?
Well, before I give my rating there, when Sharpwood said he's back, I think I'm kind of imagined him like sleeping on the desk, and he's like, wait, I'm back, I think.
No, he's He's the Twilight here, so he's Pancake.
Exactly that's why I was giggling that much, because I had it literally in that picture in my mind.
Can someone draw Sharpwood as a pancake now?
Sorry.
I made that joke before, Neon, so you're not original. Sorry, mate.
but still, seeing you see like that with that face would be priceless. Back to the writing. I actually have to agree with Violet there. I actually enjoyed the episode altogether.
Okay.
I admit there are some bullshit moments in a way, more another. I give you that. But all in all, especially since it tied so well without having been necessary to have to see in the comic or have to buy it to actually know what the freak is going on, even way, I would actually give the episode as well a 4 out of 5.
Okie dokie. Sounds respectable to me. And,
Guys, did you check the chat?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh god. Fuck, now
What's over there?
I have the picture in my head right now. Thank you, Rainbow.
What was that over there? What am I missing on?
Thanks.
Someone should draw M.A. Larson as a pancake.
Yes!
Jesus Christ! Name!
Wait a minute. We're gonna start drawing the writers as food? Oh, where's
In that case, we have to don't make him a coffee as a taco.
Nope. I'm out. Sorry. I'm out. That's enough for me.
Anyway, Balto.
First of all, Josh Hamilton would be the corn dog, and then... Second, I'm actually going to agree with Violet and Neon. I'm going to give it a 4 as well, because, well, there was a lot of bullshit, for example, the Vent Ex Machina, but overall, I think the good stuff in this episode by far outweighed the bad stuff. So, honestly, I'm not going to give it a 5 because it wasn't perfect, but, yeah, I would give it a 4.
Jeez, Van, so far we look like a cynical bastard.
Balto, you have to promise me something.
Yes.
You're at Nightmare Nights, right?
What?
You're going to Nightmare Nights, right?
Yeah.
If M.A. Larson is there, let him sign a pancake, please.
He's gonna be there, so I can do that for you if you want.
Do it! I'm daring you, do it!
Alright.
If we can't have him as a pancake, I want a pancake with his assignment on it. I want to see it.
Me, Kanata, and Daniel are gonna be there, so any one of us can do it.
Oh,
Too bad this is not gonna be very fresh autograph.
God.
But still, it would be worth it.
Should I put butter on said pancake?
Move on, please.
Alright, can we move on, please?
That's up to you.
Alright, let's move on, and let's go ahead.
Alrighty. Alright, the setting was beautiful. There was good character design. Pinky was good, and Caballerian was a Scooby-Doo villain, so 3 out of 5. Well, no, 3.5 out of 5.
Alrighty. I like how you said that he's like a Scooby-Doo villain. I like that.
That was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, some
And
Scooby-Doo
I would have gotten away with it with you meddling kids.
Hold on, one at a time.
To be honest, some Scooby-Doo villains are much less predictable than this one.
Oh, Konata, really?
What do you do? I can't see the chat.
No syrup for that pancake?
I want some salt.
Hey, wait. Crimson? Crimson, when you're ready.
Ugh.
Congratulations, you just broke the dragon.
And this time it's for real.
Book him.
Crimson.
That's so funny.
I think. Oh, there you are. Okay.
There he is.
Crimson, we need you to heat up the pancake.
I'd like mine with blueberries, please.
Rain, please.
The episode itself was good. There were minor setbacks that needed to be worked on. So I'm giving this one a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Alright, David?
Okay. Like I said, I think the highlight of this episode for me was Pinkie Pie. But my rating for it overall was 3 out of 5.
3? Whoa, okay.
Yeah, it was like good and bad moments in it too, So
Alright, Looney?
I give this one a 2.5 out of 5. I love Sonambula, I love them all, but what I don't love is a predictable story.
Wow, I do have the lowest rating on here. That's definitely a first.
You're not that far from us, to be honest. And I give 2 out of 2.5 because I'm kind.
That in this episode had a Deus Ex Machina mending, which I cannot forgive it for.
You do realize that the Legend of Applejack told also ended on a Deus Ex Machina.
I think that was even bigger Deus Ex Machina.
It was. But anyways.
This is not a Deus Ex Machina measurement content, boys. Stop it.
Alright, overall, the overall group rating for Daring Done is a 3 out of 5.
I'm
Well
cool.
then.
Wow.
Yeah.
The motivated system, technically, it's very middle of the road. But, well, I can't believe I got the lowest rating out of all of you. I'm honestly
What was your rating again?
2.
2.
2.
And all the rest of you guys got like 4s, 3, 3.5, 2.5s.
This has been a very different rating system. But Venomous, that's fine. I mean, it's your rating. It's what it is.
Exactly.
It's your opinion.
Exactly.
Don't be ashamed of it.
It's just kind of funny that way.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But we're probably going to have more Daring Do episodes to review. So.
Oh, that's definite.
Mm.
So yeah, that's about all for this particular episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. Tune in next time where we talk about It Isn't the Main Thing About You. An episode that might or might not have people scratching their heads.
And we are doing done.
And yes, the fun.
Oh, come on, really?
I've waited the whole
You just
podcast
couldn't help yourself.
You just couldn't resist, could you?
I've been waiting the whole podcast to say that.
And yes, my pun was intentional. But anyways, till then, we'll see you all next time.
I actually enjoyed the pancake meme.
Sayonara, Eric Pony, and have a nice day.
See ya, everyone. Till next time.
See y'all later, everybody.
Boy.
We're all awake.